Hey, this is Chris Goff, and in this training video in REIPro, we're going to talk about how to lease option it from the seller to lease optioning it with the new buyer. And if you've seen some of the other previous training videos with the other strategies, you're going to see how this offer actually is going to be a little bit different. And especially if you went to, our seller finance already or a purchase, these numbers are going to be a little bit different. And keep in mind, this is the same property that needs some repairs, but as long as the property is livable, that's a lease option to me. It may not be painted perfectly or have all the updates that you'd want, but at the same time, it's livable. We don't need walls falling down and things broke. Okay, so we can actually pay a little bit more on the sales price than we could if we paid cash or seller financed it. Okay, so in this example, we're going to use $330. The option payment, or what we call a down payment, that's non-refundable and is applied to the purchase price when we buy. And ultimately, we're not buying, but our new buyer is going to buy from us. Then we buy from the seller. $1,700 a month rental payment with a lease term of 36 months. I don't really use monthly credits too much, but if you do, getting it with the seller is totally fine. I just don't normally give them to the new buyer. Don't want to cause any confusion on what's actually a credit, or judges may consider it equity in different things. So I don't really like to use it. If you do use it just with the seller. And it's great to get credit. So monthly credits is nothing more than, hey, I want $100 monthly credit, which is more or less than a paper credit applied to the purchase price if I pay you on time. So if you're not paying me on time, you don't get the credit. So that's how it works. I'm going to keep that zeroed out right now just to keep this example simple. Then we turn around and we say, okay, how are we going to sell this? Now, you do have the ability to stay in the middle or not stay in the middle. See, with a lease option, I could find the seller, find the buyer, connect the two dots, collect a little bit of money through the down payment, and move on to the next deal. And then that agreement would be between those two parties. Most of the time, you're going to stay in the middle. It's just, anytime you could profit three different ways on a house you don't own, have no money invested in, I mean, that's a good deal. I mean, it's one of the only strategies I think out there that you don't have to invest any money to get a return. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, and if you're new to lease options, I would definitely encourage you to go to our education center and go through some of the training videos that we have on this subject. So we're going to sell this property for a little bit more. Now keep in mind, it's worth $415 if you looked at some of the other videos, but we're selling it at a discount because keep in mind the property does need some updates. Okay, we just happen to get a really good deal over here. So $375. Now, option payment, I would like $12,500 down. I think that's a fairly reasonable number. If I were seller financing it, which I couldn't because I don't own it over here with the seller, is I could get more. With a lease option, you're going to get a little bit less down. Monthly rental payment is $2,000, and that's what the going rent rate is for this property. But I'm only going to go 12 months on with this buyer. Now, although I'm going 3 years with the seller, this gives me an opportunity to say, hey, if the buyer does not buy, I could extend it another year because I'll have 2 more years left. I could find somebody new for the property and make another $12,500 down. Okay, so I could rent the property. I could sell the property. And the great thing is you have multiple different options if that were to happen. Now, of course, we want the buyer to buy. That's the whole point. And that's why I like to have my buyers get with a local mortgage broker so they can help them during these 12 months to get qualified. Sometimes just a very small number. It could be just some small debt to income ratio, a credit card that needs to be paid down. Many different reasons why people can't get qualified. Doesn't mean that it takes forever to change your credit score. You just have to be doing the right things. And that's where a mortgage broker is going to come into play. If I come down and look at the total analysis of this property, I mean, $48,000 on a house I don't own. I don't have no money invested in it. I mean, that's pretty huge. So this strategy is a great strategy to learn. If you're not familiar with it, definitely go check out the educational videos in the education center. I can then print this, obviously save this analysis, and compare it to other ways to analyze this particular deal. Hope those tips helped, and look forward to seeing you on the next training video.